Brownie, a lot of talk about Ben Rutten and what he's going to do next year, and it was a lot about how Carousella and Rutten could fix the team defence, which Worsfold wasn't great with last year. But here was Rutten, which raised a lot of eyebrows at half-time when he couldn't work out what was going wrong with the team's performance.
Oh, look, a fair bit to worry about there. We're getting belted at centre bounce. We're not working on in defence. There's a fair bit there.
So defence was what they hoped Rutten and Carousel would bring from Richmond to Essendon. Let's take a look at the defence and how poor it was yesterday. He just can't sort it out. He can't get his team to play the way he wanted. So there was a poor stoppage and it goes down inside forward 50. You wonder, how does that happen, all right? That was training drill sort of stuff. So we go behind the goals. This is Jordan Ridley, who's had a good year. Talk about poor team defence. Bailey Fritz, they put a smart player on Jordan Ridley yesterday. He just wants to watch the ball. Yeah. That is what happened. So that's one aspect. Then we go, Essendon are ranked 17th for letting goals happen from defence forward 50. So here's Joey on the mark. This ball goes over the top to Oliver. So if you get over the first line, that's the next player who's in line. This was also Jaden Hunt, who was circled as well. So they're just letting the ball get over the top, and then this is what happens. Ball out the back. Jaden Hunt, who was also in the picture, they are just queuing up, being unselfish and giving goals away. So it's going to be huge decisions. I think there'll be a massive, I reckon, up to, like North Melbourne, 10 list changes. I think assistant coaches will go, even board level will be looked at Essendon.
Really?
Board level? Coming year. I think there's going to be a huge change coming at Essendon. So we haven't heard the end of this.
Well, you've raised it, so let me put you on the spot. Of the assistant coaches, who will go?
Well, Mark Harvey's already moved out. And John Worsfold's going to be going. So there's already a couple. So, there's two at least. But, I think, obviously, we'll hear later, Fantasia, Danaher, Sard, all more likely to leave than stay, which will be fascinating.
Damo, what are you hearing on that front?
Yeah, I'm hearing the same thing, actually, TJ. Those three players that Lloydie just mentioned, I don't see as being bombers in 2021. I actually feel, from what I've been hearing in the last couple of weeks, there's some doubt now, too, about Carl Hooker, about what he does. Now, he's contracted, but he hasn't been able to get into the team lately. It's fair to say that he's not at all happy, and there might just be a revisiting of his situation as well. I think Michael Hurley, his great mate there in the back line, is also, I think, is not as happy as he may have once been at Essendon. So there's a lot to play out. The recruiting manager, or the list manager, Adrian Dodoro, who's been there a very long time, under constant pressure, obviously, given that they haven't won a final since 2004. There'll be discussions had around that part of the club's operation. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be departing, but there's certainly pressure on him and others around him in that space. And I just feel that with Paul Brasher coming in to replace officially Lindsay Tanner in coming days, there's going to be a lot going on.
Well, a very lot going on there by the sounds of it, Damo. What was that, Bill?
Oh, he said he'll sum it up in 20 seconds.
But big news there from Damo. Hooker and Hurley also off the back of the other three.
Is Hooker injured? Because he didn't play yesterday.
No, omitted.
Wow, that is big.
Well, we're going to hear from Kane in just a tick as to, the prospects, the playing prospects, the futures of some of the Essendon players. But, Bill, you noticed something there yesterday in the form of a guard of honour.
A guard of honour. We love this. Both teams, guard of honour. This is fantastic for John Worsfold. But Tom Bell-Chambers thought it was for himself. He actually started walking down and he goes, gee, I haven't been this good. I've been a good player. I haven't been a star. And poor old Belcho had to exit right because it was for poor old Woosha, who's been fantastic, did get him out of a hole. And this was great to see. Every Essendon player on the list shook his hand and gave him a hug and said, well done. So I did like this, Lordo.
Yeah, it was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Nice touch. And as I said last week, TJ, I haven't enjoyed the last year of John Worsfold, but I think when he came in, they needed a senior figure like him, and he did a good job.
Who else might be getting a guard of honour, Kane? Just following on from what Damo and Lordo were saying about the wholesale changes.
Well, I just think it's an important statement from Joe Danaher. I've seen what Tom Papley has done. He wanted to leave last year, but he's recently come out and committed to the Sydney Swans, saying he's not going anywhere. I haven't seen the same from Danaher, so that says that he would be moving on. Same from Fantasia, who wanted to leave last year. But it's not as much about personnel for Essendon. It's about what Lloydie said and getting the players to buy into a game style. Take the personnel out of it. They've got to fix what is broken offensively and defensively.
When are we going to go back to calling it defence, by the way, instead of all this defence? When did that creep in?
American.
It is very American.
Very American.
Defence.
Yeah.
Very
offense.
picky, TJ.
It's not very picky. It's just
no, it is.
Well, it's not. It's just that surely we can move away from the Americanisms that have crept in, like defence and all that sort of stuff.